Okay, let's talk about a company whose stock chart suddenly decided to go, well, completely vertical. This is a story about more than just numbers on a screen. It's about giant power plants, an explosion in energy demand, and why Wall Street suddenly decided to take a much, much closer look. Let's break it all down. Sometimes a stock chart is more than just data. It's a story. And the one for a company called Argan Inc. is a real page turner. It basically asks a very simple question. What in the world happened here? And just look at this. I mean, we're not talking about a little bump. This is a massive, powerful surge. It's what you'd call a structural breakout, and it's definitely caught the market's attention. A move this big, this fast, it tells you something fundamental has changed. So that's the big question we're going to unpack in this explainer. Is this just a bunch of hype, or is there something real, something tangible backing all of this up? Come on, let's peel back the layers. To really get that surge, we first have to understand the company itself. Now, Argan probably isn't a name you hear every day, but they operate right at the very heart of our modern energy grid. So what do? Well, at its core, Argan is what's called an EPC contractor. Just think of them as the master architect and general contractor for the energy world. They take on these huge, complex, multi-year projects, like building a massive power plant. And they manage the whole shebang, from the first blueprint all the way to flipping the switch. The company got its start back in 2003, and they have a laser-like focus. They work through different subsidiaries, but their crown jewel is a company called Gemma Power Systems, and these guys are the experts in building natural gas power plants. Another key thing, they keep their corporate overhead super lean, and that gives them a serious edge when it comes to getting things done and staying profitable. Okay, so here's the crucial part. The first major clue to what's driving this stock isn't in some random market rumor, it's buried deep inside the company's own order book. And to get it, you have to understand this one word, backlog. For a company like Argan, the backlog is everything. Seriously, it's the single most important number to watch. This isn't money they hope to make. It's the total dollar value of contracts they have already signed, sealed, and delivered for work they're going to do in the future. It's their pipeline. It's their future revenue locked in. And get this, Argan's backlog hasn't just grown, it has absolutely exploded to a record-breaking $3 billion. That is the biggest number in the company's entire history, and it's a giant flashing sign that a huge wave of business is coming their way. Now, here's why that number is such a game changer. A high backlog like this gives you incredible visibility into future revenue. It just erases so much uncertainty. It lowers the risk profile of the business, and it basically shouts to investors, hey, our future is looking really, really secure. And we're not talking about small repair jobs here. This is a pipeline full of massive, gigawatt-scale power plant projects. That $3 billion figure secures their workflow for years to come, locking in work all the way out to 2027, 2028, even 2029. But, a backlog like that doesn't just appear out of thin air. You have to ask, why now? Well, let's zoom out and look at the massive economic forces that are fueling this incredible demand for exactly what Argan builds. Right now, America is getting incredibly thirsty for electricity, and that hunger is being driven by the very technologies that are defining our time. Think about the colossal power needs of data centers, the insane computational requirements for AI, our constant move to cloud computing, and the big push to electrify manufacturing. All of it is creating a huge shift in our energy needs. And right here, this is where you can connect the dots perfectly. The AI and data center boom kicks off. That causes U.S. electricity demand to just soar. That demand creates a desperate need for new, and this is the key word, reliable power plants. And who builds those plants? Argan. So their backlog grows as a direct result. It's a perfect chain reaction. This is Argan's strategic sweet spot. Look, renewables are awesome and they're growing fast, but they have a problem. They're intermittent. The sun doesn't always shine, the wind doesn't always blow. Natural gas plants provide what's called dispatchable power. That means you can turn them on anytime you need them to fill the gaps and keep the grid stable. They're the essential backup that makes the whole energy transition work. So, let's put all the pieces together. This isn't just about a company being in the right place at the right time. It's about a company with an unbelievably strong financial foundation that is perfectly positioned to seize this huge opportunity. Which is a totally fair question, right? Building projects worth billions of dollars takes a staggering amount of capital. So how does a company like Argan handle this without taking on a mountain of risk? Well, the answer is pretty mind-blowing. Zero. A big, fat zero. Argan has no long-term debt on its books. In an industry this capital-intensive, that is almost unheard of. It means they're operating from a position of incredible financial strength and flexibility. All right, so let's lay it all out. Here's the whole equation. On one side, you have these incredibly powerful tailwinds, a record-breaking backlog, soaring energy demand, zero debt. It's a beautiful picture. On the other side, you have the risks that always come with this kind of success. Sky-high expectations from investors, the ever-present danger of project delays, and just the simple fact that this is a cyclical industry. When you boil it all down, the stock's massive surge really comes down to this idea. The market isn't just rewarding them for one good quarter. It is fundamentally rethinking Argan's entire role in the energy ecosystem. It's seeing them as a critical, essential player in building America's energy future. Which, of course, leaves us with the final million-dollar question, or in this case, billion-dollar question for any investor. The story's fantastic. The fundamentals look rock solid. But has the market already priced all of that good news in? Or maybe has the hype gotten just a little bit ahead of the reality? That's the big question that remains.